So the journey pathway to happiness, you were saying, Karen, yeah, there's a bit of BS about that because it doesn't look like that. And when we were in Zion, I said, "Welcome to the uncomfortable tour," but because the pathway to happiness goes through your fears, it goes through your judgments, it goes through all your unprocessed emotional wounds. Like, but if I said, here's a pathway through all your unprocessed emotional wounds, fears, and judgment, who would go? Really? I mean, so I have to market it. Pathway to happiness by going through and cleaning up and getting rid of your fears and your emotional wounds and your critical voices in your head judgments. Just did put that as the tagline. And what does that mean? You're going to go, it's like, I'm going to allow myself to experience what I just buried in my past. Okay? And process that emotion. So I'm no longer reacting to it and carrying it forward every day, future in my life. So now it's like, well, okay, take the splinter out. It doesn't hurt every day. Take the emotional wound, clean it out. You're no longer reacting day after day. So there's more peace and more joy and more love from then on. And the repressing of emotions, trying to control everything. We're no longer doing that. So we allow ourselves to feel more love and joy, but we also allow ourselves to feel more of the pain, the sadness, the compassion, the fear and anxiety, maybe, that we're covering up. And this is a part of natural evolution growth that we're returning to, because the growth of consciousness expanding. And this was a surprise to me, that it was like, here I am, like, I want to just have more love and more love. And what would happen was I would go back and be sobbing and crying during the process. I'm like, I don't want to be doing this. I was like, oh, this is part of the journey. This has to be cleaned up, because part of my emotional growth, my consciousness growth, got stopped when I got afraid to express emotions. I got afraid to feel emotions. My consciousness got stuck there in those patterns. And so for emotional growth and consciousness growth, I have to go back and reintegrate parts of myself, parts of consciousness I got stuck at age 5 and 6 and 10 and 15 in my fears and doubts and beliefs at those ages. And so as you go into more love, means you go back and you find these obstacles, which is the agreements, beliefs we made at earlier ages, and the emotion we trapped there in the wounds. There was, prime example of this, surprise that this is the pathway to happiness, both more of everything emotionally. I was in this process, and I became just infused with this really high consciousness and love, Christ consciousness, could say, and just this expansive heart opening, blasting love feeling everywhere. And while I'm feeling all that, part of my brain is going, huh? What's happening here? I also feel this sadness as this is happening. And why would all this incredible love, and I could feel this expansion called Christ consciousness, why would this have all this sadness? And I asked a friend of mine afterwards, because I knew he'd been through a lot of journeys. And he's like, well, when you expand into that much love, your consciousness expands, and your consciousness expands to be connected to awareness of the rest of humanity. You're aware of the pain that humans are in. And there's a sadness, a general feeling of the pain that your consciousness now can perceive at that expanded level. And so sadness is a natural response. So as love grows in you, in me, anybody, consciousness expands because they're intertwined, but also awareness of the pain we are in as human beings expands, sadness grows. So that range of emotion is still both high and low, felt more intensely. So the path to that love and happiness is uncomfortable. Part of the natural growing pains, emotionally and consciously. But then it, in my experience, sustains in a better and better way.